Mosquitoes found with strange serial numbers. In recent months, a curious trend has emerged online involving videos that claim to show mosquitoes with what appear to be serial numbers imprinted on their backs. These short clips, often filmed with extreme close-ups, reveal what some viewers believe to be alphanumeric markings on the tiny bodies of the insects. The initial reaction to these videos was a mix of disbelief and fascination, as many noted that the mosquitoes depicted in the footage did not look entirely natural. Their physical characteristics, such as wing shape, body proportions, and leg structure, were described by some users as strange, leading to speculation that these may not be ordinary mosquitoes at all. What adds to the intrigue is that this is not an isolated case. Multiple videos from different sources have surfaced, each showing mosquitoes with similar markings. Viewers from various regions have posted their findings, some even suggesting that the markings are hidden beneath a thin layer of the mosquito's skin and must be peeled back to be visible. This detail sparked even more speculation, with many wondering how such precision could be possible without some form of human intervention or advanced engineering. These reports came shortly after another bizarre claim surfaced online, people finding numbers and labels printed on fruit skins. Though both of these phenomena could be explained by contamination, labeling errors, or digital manipulation, some believe they point to a larger and more secretive experiment involving genetic modification or micro-tracking technology. The mosquito videos, in particular, have revived discussions about bioengineering and its implications for the natural world. Fueling this conversation further is the well-documented release of genetically modified mosquitoes into the wild by biotechnology company Oxitec. In 2021, Oxitec announced that it had released 750 million genetically modified mosquitoes in Florida. The project aimed to reduce populations of mosquitoes that transmit illnesses by introducing engineered males designed to mate with wild females. The offspring would not survive, leading to a decrease in the target population over time. According to Oxitec, the early results of similar releases in Brazil were promising, showing a reduction in mosquito populations without measurable harm to other species. The US government later gave approval for Oxitec to expand their program into Texas. Proponents of the initiative argue that it is a safer alternative to chemical pesticides and could significantly reduce the spread of mosquito-borne illnesses. However, not everyone is convinced that these modified mosquitoes are as safe as claimed. Critics have voiced concerns that altering mosquito DNA on such a massive scale could have unintended consequences. They warn that the genetic changes may produce unforeseen effects in the ecosystem, such as the creation of new insect populations or mutations that lead to resistance. There are also concerns about how these changes might affect animals that rely on mosquitoes for food, or how the alterations might impact humans in subtle, long-term ways. The videos showing numbered mosquitoes have reignited these fears, with some suggesting that they may be part of a hidden monitoring program, or that they represent a new phase in genetic experimentation that the public is unaware of. The presence of what appears to be a tracking number, particularly when it requires close inspection to see, has led to theories about surveillance, data collection, or even micro-robotics, though no credible evidence has confirmed such claims. Still, the timing of the videos in relation to the confirmed releases by Oxitec cannot be ignored. While it remains unclear whether these videos show real genetically modified insects or are simply digital hoaxes, they have succeeded in drawing attention back to the debate over the role of genetic engineering in nature. The images, even if unverified, have sparked renewed questions about how far science should go in altering life forms and what oversight is in place to ensure safety for the environment and public health. Whether these mosquitoes are part of a controlled scientific project or something else entirely, the videos have once again highlighted society's unease with emerging biotechnology. As genetic engineering becomes more common and more sophisticated, the lines between natural and artificial are becoming increasingly blurred. And with that comes a responsibility to ask important questions, not just about what science can do, but about what it should do. Satellite images reveal a strange new hole at Yellowstone National Park. In Yellowstone National Park, one of the most geologically active places on Earth, change is always underway beneath the surface. In early 2025, scientists with the United States Geological Survey made a remarkable discovery. Satellite imagery revealed a strange new hole in the park's landscape. This newly formed feature, a vivid chalk blue pool of hot water, was found nestled within the Norris Geyser Basin, an area already known as Yellowstone's most active and dynamic thermal region. This unusual formation, measuring approximately 4 meters or 13 feet in diameter, drew immediate attention from geologists. Its water temperature measured around 43 degrees Celsius or 109 degrees Fahrenheit, making it warmer than a typical bath. Rising to within 30 centimeters or 1 foot of the rim, the water appeared still and serene. Yet around the edge of the hole, the land told a different story. Scattered rocks coated with fine dust hinted at a violent past. According to researchers, this strange new pool was likely the result of a hydrothermal explosion, a powerful natural event that forces superheated water through the Earth's crust, blowing open a hole in the ground. Hydrothermal explosions in Yellowstone are rare, but not unheard of. They occur when underground water, heated far beyond boiling point by the supervolcano beneath the park, becomes trapped by a cap of rock or sediment. If the pressure becomes too great due to seismic activity, the thawing of ice, or the weakening of surrounding rock by acidic fluids, the surface can no longer contain the energy building below. The result is a sudden and forceful burst of steam, sending debris flying and reshaping the land above. The mystery surrounding this particular event lies not in its formation, but in its timing. To uncover the answer, geologists turned to satellite imagery and ground-based monitoring stations. These tools provide a timeline by comparing before and after visuals and recording sounds and movements in the Earth that might otherwise go unnoticed. After analyzing satellite images, the scientists determined that the feature was not visible as of the 19th of December, 2024. However, by early January 2025, a small depression had formed at the site. By the 13th of February, the transformation was complete, and the chalk blue pool could be clearly seen. Supporting data from nearby sensors provided further clues. On the 25th of December, a faint acoustic signal was detected coming from the area, though it was not accompanied by any seismic activity, which is usually expected during such an event. Similar low-level signals were detected again on the 15th of January and the 11th of February, reinforcing the theory that the explosion may have occurred quietly, at least by Yellowstone standards. The most likely conclusion, based on all available data, is that the hydrothermal explosion took place on the 25th of December, 2024. This unusual timing has captured the imagination of both scientists and the public alike. An unexpected and dramatic geological event occurring on Christmas Day, as though the Earth itself had presented a steaming, mysterious gift from the depths. Though the feature is not especially large compared to some of Yellowstone's other natural wonders, it serves as a powerful reminder of the forces at work just beneath the surface. The Norris Geyser Basin, with its boiling springs, shifting ground, and ever-changing features, continues to be a focal point for those studying the hidden mechanics of the Earth. Scientists have just announced that living robots made in a lab have found a new way to self-replicate. In a remarkable scientific breakthrough, researchers have announced that a new kind of living robot, known as a xenobot, has demonstrated a never-before-seen form of self-replication. Developed from frog cells, these tiny biological machines are able to gather and organize other cells to form new versions of themselves. The discovery has stunned scientists and may carry significant implications for fields such as regenerative medicine, environmental cleanup, and artificial life research. The xenobots are made from stem cells derived from the African clawed frog, scientifically known as Xenopus laevis. Despite their organic makeup, they are not genetically altered. Instead, the cells are simply arranged in a specific way in a laboratory setting, essentially creating a programmable biological entity. These simple organisms were first introduced by a team of scientists from Tufts University, Harvard University, and the University of Vermont, who initially described them in a research paper published nearly 2 years earlier. The cells used to build the xenobots are not equipped with brains, nervous systems, or digestive organs, yet the xenobots are capable of movement and action. They propel themselves using small hair-like structures called cilia, which spin in a corkscrew motion, allowing the xenobots to move about their environment. This motion also happens to be quite effective at gathering surrounding material, such as other cells. Realizing this, The researchers decided to explore whether the xenobots could be guided into specific shapes that might enhance their ability to collect loose stem cells. To aid in this, they turned to artificial intelligence, which ran countless simulations to determine the best shape for this task. The original spheroid design was found to be inefficient, while a newly proposed C-shape, reminiscent of a snowplow, or even the character Pac-Man, proved far more effective in rounding up and corralling other cells. What happened next was entirely unexpected. As the xenobots swept up stem cells into compact piles, the researchers observed that these collected cells began to fuse together and form new xenobots, copies of the originals. This form of replication was not like anything previously observed in the natural world. Rather than dividing themselves as cells typically do, or reproducing in ways familiar to living organisms, the xenobots had demonstrated something entirely new: kinematic self-replication. Kinematic self-replication refers to an organism or structure replicating not by splitting or reproducing internally, but by moving through its environment to gather materials and build a copy of itself from external components. While this concept has existed in theory since the late 1940s, first proposed by mathematician John von Neumann, it had never been observed in a biological context until now. The copies created by the xenobots take about 5 days to form under optimal conditions. Interestingly, while the parent xenobot may be C-shaped, the new generation tends to revert to the original round form, which is less efficient at collecting cells. Still, the fact that they can replicate at all opens up a vast number of scientific possibilities and questions. Researchers suggest that xenobots might one day be used to perform targeted tasks within the human body, such as seeking out and isolating harmful cells. Others propose that they could be programmed to collect microplastics in the ocean or clean up pollutants in natural environments. Their ability to replicate themselves could be key in scaling such efforts without the need for traditional manufacturing. This discovery also challenges long-held distinctions between robots and living organisms. While robots have traditionally been machines made of metal and electronics, these xenobots blur the line, behaving like machines while being composed entirely of living cells. As Professor Michael Levin of Tufts University explained, the separation between biological and mechanical systems is not as rigid as once believed. These new life forms embody characteristics of both, functioning as tools that can also grow, change, and now, astonishingly, reproduce. Lead author Sam Kriegman noted that by shifting away from the assumption that robots must be mechanical and instead using organic matter, the challenge of creating self-replicating machines suddenly became more achievable. This shift in thinking could signal the beginning of a new field, one where biology and robotics are seamlessly integrated. While xenobots are still in the early stages of development, their ability to self-replicate marks a profound step forward. Scientists now find themselves on the edge of a new frontier, where living, programmable machines may one day repair tissues, remove waste, or even build entire systems from the bottom up. As this field evolves, the strange story of the self-replicating xenobot will likely be remembered as a turning point in the merging of life and technology. The mystery of the horned beast of Bahia. The horned beast of Bahia, Brazil, remains one of the most perplexing and chilling visual mysteries to emerge from South America. The photograph associated with this legend has become a source of intrigue and debate, capturing imaginations around the world. First surfacing during the hot summer months in Bahia, a popular tourist destination known for its golden beaches and vibrant culture, the image quickly spread across the internet, stirring everything from curiosity to genuine fear. Bahia, a coastal state rich with both urban charm and dense natural landscapes, has long been considered a tropical paradise. American tourists frequently visit its beaches and lush mangrove forests, unaware that nestled within these remote and often unexplored regions are stories that drift beyond the boundaries of the known. Among them is the tale of the horned beast, a legend that took on a chilling new layer of credibility when the mysterious photograph emerged. The image shows a horned, mud-covered humanoid creature standing in the shallows of a murky river, partially obscured by thick mangrove vegetation. In its arms, it appears to be holding the limp, lifeless body of a smaller humanoid figure. The scene is both haunting and oddly still, as though frozen in a moment too bizarre to fully understand. Those who view it are often struck by the unsettling calmness of the image. No signs of a struggle, no visible alarm, just the eerie silence of the forest and the presence of something that seemingly does not belong. The origins of the photo are murky. Some claim it was taken by a 15-year-old American tourist who was exploring the mangroves with a small group. According to this account, the girl spotted the creature unexpectedly and, acting on instinct and fear, took a single photo before fleeing the area. Whether this story is true or not, the photograph's existence cannot be denied. Its unsettling detail and composition have made it difficult to dismiss outright, even by those prone to skepticism. Skeptics have attempted to explain the image by suggesting that it depicts a clam fisherman coated in thick mud. In Bahia, clam fishing is a traditional and widespread practice, and it's not uncommon for fishermen to wade deep into muddy waters in search of shellfish. However, this theory struggles to hold up under closer scrutiny. The figure in the photo lacks the visual traits of a human. There's no exposed skin, no signs of fishing equipment, and no indication of human posture. The creature's skin appears a strange, ashy grey colour, and its form, while humanoid, doesn't reflect typical anatomy. Perhaps most troubling are the horns protruding from the top of the creature's head. Unlike dishevelled hair or accidental mud formations, the two symmetrical spikes appear rigid and intentional, rising from a bald, dome-like scalp. No other hair is visible, making the idea of mud-coated hair standing upright unlikely. Combined with its unnatural appearance, the horns further challenge the notion that this figure is simply a human mistaken for something else. The most disturbing detail, however, is what the creature appears to be carrying. In its arms is a smaller figure, limp, lifeless, and eerily human-shaped. While the quality of the image prevents any precise identification, the shape is unmistakable. It has a head, limbs, and the size of a small child. Whether it is real, staged, or an optical illusion remains unknown, but its inclusion in the photo elevates the scene from mysterious to truly unnerving. In the years following the photo's emergence, locals have reported hearing strange cries in the night and catching glimpses of figures darting between trees. Others dismiss these stories as exaggerations or tricks of the imagination, though the thick vegetation and limited access to many parts of Bahia make thorough investigation difficult. Some believe that the horned beast could be a previously undiscovered species, hiding deep within the mangroves, while others view it through a more folkloric lens, interpreting it as a manifestation of something supernatural. Regardless of its origin, the image continues to provoke debate and fascination. It serves as a reminder of how much of the natural world remains mysterious and unexplored. Whether the horned beast of Bahia is an elaborate hoax, a misunderstood photograph, or evidence of something truly unknown, its image persists in the minds of those who have seen it. The forest, after all, keeps its secrets well, and sometimes it allows just enough to slip through to keep us wondering. The Chelyabinsk event. In the early morning of the 15th of February 2013, the sky above Chelyabinsk, Russia, lit up with a blinding flash as a 65-foot-wide asteroid exploded high in the atmosphere. The event caught the world off guard and reminded humanity of the unpredictable power of nature. The explosion, though occurring approximately 18 miles above the Earth's surface, released energy estimated to be 25 times greater than the explosion over Hiroshima. The resulting shockwave shattered windows, damaged over 7,000 buildings, and injured more than 1,500 people, mostly due to flying glass and debris. Despite the scale of the explosion and its effects, the incident did not result in any reported loss of life, which was fortunate given how densely populated the region was. The asteroid approached Earth at a shallow angle, a trajectory that played a critical role in limiting the extent of the damage. Instead of crashing directly into the ground, it exploded in the air, a phenomenon known as an airburst. Even from that altitude, the blast was strong enough to set off car alarms, break glass across the city, and cause structural damage across a wide area. Researcher and geological theorist Randall Carlson has emphasized that if the asteroid had entered the atmosphere at a steeper angle or been slightly larger, the consequences could have been far more severe. A lower explosion would have meant the shockwave struck the ground with greater force, potentially leading to widespread destruction and a far higher toll in human suffering. In that alternate scenario, the world's perception of the risks posed by near-Earth objects might have changed drastically. Yet, because the asteroid did not result in a large-scale disaster, the memory of it has faded. The event, while shocking at the time, has largely slipped from public awareness. This collective forgetfulness is concerning to experts who believe it was a rare warning, a chance to recognize how real and immediate the risk from space debris truly is. The Chelyabinsk explosion was not caused by a large or particularly fast object by astronomical standards, yet its energy release was enough to rattle an entire region. That should serve as a humbling reminder that Earth is not immune to cosmic events. Carlson and others argue that humanity is living in a cosmic shooting gallery. Space is filled with objects, both large and small, that travel through the solar system on unpredictable paths. While many are tracked and catalogued, there remain countless more that have yet to be detected. Without improved systems for early detection and mitigation, another incident, perhaps more damaging, could arrive with little warning. The Chelyabinsk meteor was a rare opportunity to reflect on the vulnerability of life on Earth. While no lives were lost and the physical injuries were limited, the potential for disaster was clear. That the event is barely remembered today is perhaps the most alarming part of the story. It is not the absence of tragedy that should bring comfort, but the lesson it offered, and the danger of ignoring it. In a revelation that may reshape the historical narrative of ancient Egypt, a team of scientists has announced the discovery of a second massive underground structure beneath the Giza pyramids. Following their initial claim earlier this year of a hidden subterranean city located beneath the Khafra pyramid, the team now reports similar findings beneath the Pyramid of Menkaure, suggesting a vast interconnected complex that stretches thousands of feet beneath the desert sands. This bold discovery, if verified, could offer new insights into the civilization responsible for one of the world's most enigmatic and enduring wonders. The original announcement from the team of Italian researchers in March sparked immediate controversy. Using ground-penetrating radar and tomography, they reported evidence of pillar-like formations and complex tunnel systems extending over 2,000 feet beneath the Khafra pyramid. The findings were met with skepticism from many in the archaeological community, particularly by renowned Egyptologist Dr. Zahi Hawass, who dismissed the claims as unscientific and argued that the technology used cannot penetrate to such depths. However, Egyptologist Zahi Hawass has faced growing criticism from researchers who claim he restricts access to critical archaeological sites in Egypt, limiting the potential for groundbreaking discoveries. Some accuse him of acting as a gatekeeper, prioritizing traditional narratives over emerging evidence that could reshape our understanding of ancient Egyptian technology and culture. By refusing permission for certain scientific studies, critics argue that opportunities to explore advanced construction methods, possible lost civilizations, and new interpretations of Egypt's past are being missed. Supporters say his caution protects heritage, but others believe his control may be slowing the evolution of archaeological knowledge. Despite such criticism, the researchers have continued their work undeterred. Their latest scans have revealed what appear to be identical subterranean features beneath the Menkaure pyramid, the smallest of the three main pyramids on the Giza plateau. Filippo Biondi, a radar expert from the University of Strathclyde and co-author of the research, reported a 90% probability that the same type of pillars discovered below Khafra also exist under Menkaure. These structures, according to their analysis, suggest a shared design and possible interconnectivity among the pyramids. Biondi and his colleagues believe these discoveries support their theory that the Giza pyramids are only the visible peaks of a much larger architectural endeavor buried deep beneath the surface. The pillars reportedly extend in spiral patterns around central shafts, possibly forming part of an ancient system that utilized natural elements such as air, water, fire, and earth. While the exact function of this complex remains speculative, the researchers suggest it may have held spiritual, engineering, or astronomical significance. This proposed network challenges the prevailing archaeological consensus, which dates the construction of the pyramids to approximately 4,500 years ago during Egypt's 4th dynasty. In contrast, the Italian team posits that the subterranean complex could date back as far as 38,000 years, possibly built by a sophisticated prehistoric civilization long lost to time. Their theory is grounded in a broader hypothesis about a global cataclysm, believed to have occurred around 12,800 years ago, which may have led to widespread environmental disruptions and the disappearance of advanced cultures. Supporting this idea is Dr. James Kennett, a geologist at the University of California, Santa Barbara. He notes that evidence from North America points to a major cultural shift around the same period, particularly with the decline of the Clovis people. He links this to a possible comet impact, which could have triggered massive flooding and other environmental upheavals. Kennett highlights impact-related evidence found at the archaeological site of Abu Huraira in Syria, roughly 1,000 miles from Giza, as a clue that such an event may have affected the ancient Egyptian region as well. The concept of a flood engulfing parts of Egypt also aligns intriguingly with ancient Egyptian mythology. Researcher Andrew Collins draws attention to the Edfu building texts, inscriptions found on the walls of the Temple of Edfu located 780 miles south of Giza. These texts reference a devastating flood and a mysterious ancestral group called the Eldest Ones, whose sacred domain was destroyed. Collins suggests that these legends may preserve distant memories of a lost civilization and its knowledge, possibly tied to the hidden structures beneath Giza. He further proposes that the enemy serpent mentioned in these texts could symbolize a comet or celestial event, as many ancient cultures often depicted cosmic disturbances using serpentine imagery. The texts also reference the hiding of sacred objects in a place called the underworld of the soul, which Collins believes might relate directly to the newly discovered subterranean features under Giza. Though mainstream scholars argue that these texts are symbolic rather than literal, Collins maintains that they provide valuable clues about Egypt's prehistoric past. Critics continue to dismiss such theories as speculative and unsupported by physical excavation or peer-reviewed data. Many Egyptologists argue that the Edfu texts reflect religious symbolism rather than historical events. They emphasize that the known construction timeline of the pyramids, supported by inscriptions, materials, and burial sites, does not accommodate such ancient dates as proposed by Biondi's team. Nonetheless, proponents of the new theory cite archaeological findings from around the world that suggest early humans were more advanced than previously believed. They point to the Gravettian peoples of Russia, who, some 30,000 years ago, demonstrated impressive social organization and technological skill. These communities constructed rectangular dwellings, wore tailored clothing, and possibly observed lunar cycles, suggesting a cognitive and cultural sophistication that may rival our modern assumptions about ancient history. The discovery of possible interconnected underground structures beneath both the Khafra and Menkaure pyramids raises significant questions. If the radar data is confirmed through physical excavation or more advanced imaging, it would imply that much of what is currently accepted about the Giza Plateau, and perhaps early human civilizations, could be incomplete or in need of revision. The notion that the pyramids are not isolated monuments, but part of a far more extensive underground infrastructure, is both thrilling and unsettling, as it pushes the boundaries of archaeological understanding and human prehistory. While many remain skeptical, interest in the Italian team's work continues to grow. The research, though not yet published in a peer-reviewed journal, has captivated the public imagination. Influential figures and independent researchers alike are taking notice, recognizing that even if the claims are ultimately disproven, they prompt essential questions about how history is written, preserved, and sometimes challenged. In the coming years, more evidence will be needed to validate or disprove these claims. Ground truthing through excavations, independent verifications of the radar data, and peer-reviewed publications will be essential for these findings to gain widespread acceptance. Until then, the mystery beneath the Giza pyramids remains unsolved, serving as a powerful reminder of the many secrets still buried beneath the surface of human history. A potentially history-altering discovery has been made beneath one of Egypt's most mysterious sites, the Tomb of Osiris, a symbolic burial place associated with the god of the afterlife. Italian researchers, the same team that previously claimed to have uncovered a vast underground city beneath the Giza pyramids, have now announced the detection of a sarcophagus-like structure buried over 600 feet below the tomb. This finding, if verified, could lend weight to long-standing theories of subterranean secrets beneath Egypt's ancient monuments. secrets that may predate recorded history itself. Using advanced radar imaging, specifically synthetic aperture radar, the research team claims to have visualized an unknown chamber below the known levels of the tomb of Osiris. The tomb itself descends more than 100 feet and is divided into distinct tiers, the lowest of which has previously been thought to mark the end of any structural depth. However, the newly released images suggest otherwise. A vertical shaft appears to continue beyond the third level, ultimately reaching a large, empty space more than 650 feet below the surface. Within this void, the radar analysis allegedly detected the shape of a sarcophagus, possibly surrounded by flowing water. The research team, composed of Corrado Malanga from the University of Pisa, Filippo Biondi from the University of Strathclyde, Egyptologist Armando May, and spokesperson Nicole Ciccolo, emphasized the objectivity of their data. According to Ciccolo, the tomographic radar analysis was able to replicate in high-resolution detail the known interior of the tomb of Osiris before extending even further underground. The researchers state that this serves as proof of the radar system's accuracy. They used high-frequency radar pulses sent deep into the Earth, and by interpreting how the signal waves bounced back after encountering different materials, they reconstructed the probable presence of voids and structures far beneath the tomb. This discovery follows closely on the heels of the team's announcement last year that they had uncovered a massive subterranean complex beneath the Khafra pyramid. That earlier radar study suggested the presence of 8 vertical wells, large enclosure-like formations, and anomalous structures descending more than 4,000 feet below the surface, an unprecedented claim that captivated global attention while simultaneously drawing widespread skepticism. The team now believes that these structures may be as old as 38,000 years, predating known human civilizations by tens of thousands of years. They base this claim in part on their interpretation of ancient Egyptian texts, which they suggest describe a lost civilization erased by a cataclysmic event. Such assertions, however, have not gone without fierce criticism. Dr. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former Minister of Antiquities and one of the world's most prominent Egyptologists, has publicly dismissed the radar findings. He stated that the technology used is not scientifically validated for such depths, and added that no radar equipment has been used inside the pyramid with official approval. Similarly, Professor Lawrence Conyers, a radar expert at the University of Denver with decades of experience in archaeological geophysics, expressed serious doubts about the methodology. According to Conyers, ground-penetrating radar is generally limited to depths of around 30 to 40 feet, depending on the wavelength, and would not be capable of detecting features hundreds of feet below the surface. Despite this skepticism, the Italian researchers have defended their approach and findings. Ciccolo, who has 25 years of forensic experience, described the processed radar imagery in detail, pointing out unexplained dark areas on the third level of the tomb shaft and deeper voids that suggest previously undocumented rooms. She stated that pixel analysis indicates these areas exist at depths between 328 and 656 feet, and emphasized that the SAR system used had been calibrated to extreme depths, offering a new frontier in archaeological scanning. The team has yet to publish their findings in a peer-reviewed scientific journal, a factor that critics argue is crucial for validating the extraordinary claims being made. Nonetheless, their public release of the radar images, including side-by-side comparisons of the known architecture of the tomb of Osiris and the deeper unknown features, is intended to showcase the potential of satellite radar tomography in revisiting old mysteries with new tools. Adding another layer to the mystery is the recurring theme of running water, as observed in both the tomb of Osiris and the depths beneath the Khafra pyramid. The presence of water, especially near sarcophagus-like shapes, is suggestive of ritual or symbolic significance, potentially aligning with ancient beliefs about purification, rebirth, and the journey to the afterlife. In Egyptian mythology, Osiris was intimately linked with the underworld and cycles of death and rebirth, making the presence of flowing water and a possible sarcophagus beneath a tomb dedicated to him a compelling parallel to mythic archetypes. The deeper implication of this research goes beyond physical discovery. If even partially confirmed, the detection of buried structures so far below the Giza Plateau could challenge established narratives about ancient Egyptian history. The mainstream scholarly consensus holds that the pyramids were built around 4,500 years ago during the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom. The notion of structures or artifacts existing more than 30,000 years before that would suggest either a lost advanced civilization or a massive rethinking of human cultural evolution. Critics argue this veers into pseudo-archaeology, but proponents say such radical claims deserve testing, not dismissal. As it stands, the debate highlights the tension between emerging technological methods and the slower, more cautious pace of traditional archaeology. While Egyptology is grounded in documented excavation, pottery typology, and inscription analysis, technological advances like SR and remote sensing allow for new forms of non-invasive exploration. The clash of these two worlds, conventional academia and experimental science, creates both conflict and opportunity. The mystery of the tomb of Osiris and the mysterious sarcophagus hidden far beneath it remains unresolved. Whether future excavations will confirm the presence of a physical chamber 656 feet below the surface or disprove it as an error or artifact of flawed radar processing is unknown. What is clear, however, is that curiosity about Egypt's deep past remains as powerful as ever. Whether through myth, exploration, or emerging science, the sands of Giza continue to challenge the boundaries of what humanity thinks it knows about its origins.